It's called a poncho for
Someone's probably done this already, but I couldn't resist. Well, I mean, here it is. Toy Story 5 is real. It's almost here, and frankly, it scares me a little.
You got a friend in me.
Okay, Pixar, I get it's nostalgic, but I can't take an epic orchestral mix of Friend and Me seriously. For Toy Story 4, you used a Beach Boys song, and it almost made me cry. Just do that again. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Pixar has kinda had an uphill battle when it comes to getting people on board with the idea of this movie. It isn't hard to get people to go and see a Toy Story movie in theaters. I mean, the money practically prints itself. But getting people on board with the idea, the concept, what new ideas Toy Story 5 can put on the table to justify its existence, has been a bit of a struggle. I mean, the way people reacted to that one teaser image we got last year, you would have thought, well, it was interesting. Eyebrows were immediately raised with Woody being brought back and hanging out with the gang after the whole point of 4 was to give him a send-off. But people were also skeptical about the main threat of the movie for reasons, I guess.
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology!
Let's not beat around the bush here. The idea of a 5th Toy Story movie has been controversial ever since Toy Story 4, which was also considered a controversial idea ever since Toy Story 3, and you don't need a super lengthy explanation as to why. Toy Story 3 is still seen as the heart-wrenching conclusion to a trilogy it was meant to be, and you'd be hard-pressed to find people who aren't at least aware that any Toy Story entries after that are at least a tad unnecessary. At the end of the day, these are movies intended for a general family audience and largely made with kids in mind, so as long as the franchise stays popular with kids and families worldwide, there's always going to be some kind of demand for more. I am not surprised in the slightest that Toy Story 5 is now a thing. What I'm more interested in nowadays, rather than being a broken record and moaning about how Toy Story 3 was the official end of the franchise and everything afterwards is sacrilege, Toy Story 4 isn't even that bad to be honest, people are just mean, is whether or not each new entry is capable of reaching the astronomical heights of the original trilogy and can stand on their own 2 feet. While with any other franchise I'd probably be satisfied with a movie that settles on being just good, Toy Story 5 has the daunting task of measuring up to what a lot of people consider to be 3 of the best movies of all time and 1 footnote. And with the release of a brand new trailer for Toy Story 5, I'm still a bit scared, but I actually have more confidence that this 5th entry is going to be genuinely interesting, in a good way. No way of knowing for sure until the movie is finally out, but Toy Story 5 looks to finally be doing something more familiar, but weirder at the same time, while carving its own identity. So let's analyze the trailer. Before that though, I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little tired. I may need a power nap before I continue writing the rest of this video. Oh, that reminds me, please allow me to fulfill a contractual obligation. This video is sponsored by Mantasleep, the brand that... Look at this thing. Look at it. If you're having trouble sleeping due to being a stressed out, hard-working employee at your 9-to-5 or worse, a YouTuber, Mantasleep has got your back with the best sleep masks ever. Fully adjustable straps for every kind of head, breathable cooling materials to prevent sweating, and 100% full blackout with no eye pressure. Hi, this is me if anyone cares. I can't see Bupkis, and that makes me a satisfied customer. Wait, someone's next to me. Who are you? Everybody likes sleeping, except when they have a chance to judge you for taking a nap during the day. I'm a proud supporter of Mantasleep's pro-nap movement to destigmatize taking naps during the day. Some of us wake up at weird times to start working. I can't wake up at 3 AM and stay awake until 11 PM. I've been using my Mantasleep Mask Silk for a few days now, and it has drastically improved the quality of my naps and how fast I nod off thanks to its premium comfort and once again, full blackout. Just don't go driving with this. Do you want to go to sleep? That wasn't a threat, sorry, I'm asocial. Head to mantasleep.com or .uk and use my code CARTOONCHI for 10% off site-wide on your next purchase. That's 10% off when you use promo code CARTOONCHI at mantasleep.com or .uk. Thank you so much to Mantasleep for the sponsor, and thank all of you for helping to support this channel. Alright, so let's address the elephant in the room real quick. Toby Fox? Toby? What does this mean, Toby? All bets on friend inside me, Toby. What the fuck are you talking about, Toby? Sorry. Woody being back with the gang, I mean, what is that about, am I right? If I haven't already made it clear with my tone and my editing choices, I think people definitely jumped the gun and assumed the worst about Toy Story 5 just from this one bit of concept art we got as a teaser. I won't lie that seeing Woody back in Bonnie's room with the rest of the toys is a bit of a shock at first, given 4's entire existence, but I think too many people went into it with the expectation they just weren't going to explain why he was back, which I find a bit silly. They were obviously going to explain why and how Woody came back. My question though, was if it was going to be a decent explanation that didn't feel forced. I'm pretty pretty sure the people behind Toy Story 5 are at least aware of 4's polarizing reception among fans, even if it is a mostly well-received movie. While Toy Story 5's existence in the first place is justified to Pixar by how much money it'd make, I think they're aware that if they just wanted to keep making money forever, they'd pump out a new Toy Story every 4 years or so. You can tell that there is still some artistic integrity to be found in Toy Story 4 and 5. I don't think they would have made a whole ass send-off for Woody if they knew for sure they were going to be making more movies after it. And I think Toy Story 5 gives a solid answer to my question. Woody still being in infrequent contact with Jessie via walkie-talkie makes complete sense, but his reasoning for coming back to help out also works. Jessie's clash with the lily pad mirrors Woody's original conflict with Buzz in the first movie, so there's some neat poetry to be found in that, but I also think the way Woody is handled here is the best way to pay respects to the direction Toy Story 4 took without pretending like it never happened. Woody isn't here to stay, he's just here to help out while still committing to his new life with Bo and the other lost toys. In all fairness, I had a feeling this was going to be the direction they took since it makes the most sense, but after all of the fear-mongering after the first teaser, it's great to be reassured by the film itself. It's worth noting that Toy Story 4 and 5 do not share the same director, with Andrew Stanton, longtime Pixar legend responsible for co-writing and directing films like Finding Nemo and Wall-E, taking the reins from Josh Cooley, who most of you will probably know nowadays as the director of Transformers 1, which just completely blows Toy Story 4 out the water. Andrew Stanton did co-write Toy Story 4, but I feel like with him directing Toy Story 5, we're now able to get something that feels much more like the original trilogy. 4 kind of felt like a repeat of Toy Story 2, just with a flipped ending, and it only utilized Woody, Buzz, and Bo Peep as characters while leaving the rest of the cast, including Jessie, in the background. I'm not dissing Josh Cooley at all, the dude is plenty talented, and Stanton again did co-write Toy Story 4 like he did for all of the previous movies, but something about Toy Story 5 feels like it's trying to course correct from the things that didn't quite work about 4's direction. Woody is one thing, but what about everything else? Well, for one, Toy Story 5 seems to have Jessie as a primary focus, the first time she's had the spotlight since her introduction back in Toy Story 2 in 1999. While I wouldn't say she was neglected in Toy Story 3, she took on a more supportive role and didn't have a ton of focus. Then in 4, she was barely relevant outside a couple of moments that didn't majorly affect the main plot. And then towards the end where Woody gives her his badge, which didn't have the emotional weight that it should have had given how underutilized she is. I'm very fond of Jessie, I think she's a great character, but she needed to be used more, and 5 is looking to fix that issue, filling Woody's role as the leader and Bonnie's favorite toy, and having to face the same struggles Woody did when the future comes knocking. At one point in the trailer we see a cut of Jessie's backstory from Toy Story 2 now re-rendered with more detailed animation, and that's not something to be taken lightly. That is one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire franchise, and its presence here has completely sold me on the decision to focus on Jessie. The rest of the cast also seems to have more screen time beyond being stuck in a car for the whole movie like in 4, so that's great too. Now, we need to talk about the other elephant in the room. Technology. How do you create a new villain for a Toy Story movie in the current year? Well, what's currently replacing toys for a lot of young kids these days? There was some excitement, but also some worrying about the new lily pad antagonist. On the one hand, this feels like a natural fit. Kids are playing with toys less and less as the years go on, as they get stuck to their iPad screens at younger and younger ages. I'm an expert in this field. Just ask the average Loud House fan how they feel about my videos. On the other hand, there was some worrying that 5 could just rely on doing a basic technology bad story, which wouldn't do a good job at convincing or captivating anyone listening. And then also some people worried about the possible cringe from Toy Story 5 shining a light on brain rot content, but personally I just think that's really funny. Now, given the rise of harmful content to be found online and the rise of completely unsupervised internet access for young children, Toy Story 5 is in a uniquely powerful position as a well-established, critically acclaimed and beloved franchise about the positive impact toys can have on the life of children, to be able to effectively weave an impactful narrative about these dangers. And as we've seen from the trailers, it's not just going to be as simple as technology bad. Woody directly acknowledges the inherent benefits of tech with this line.
Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I feel that Toy Story 5 is going to try its hardest to provide a story with actual nuance, and I personally can't wait to see what it's like. Lilypad herself is also shaping up to be a fun villain, though that might just be me being biased since she's going to be voiced by Shelby Rabara, the voice of Peridot from Steven Universe, aka the best Steven Universe character. I mean, both are green and tied to technology, it's kind of a perfect fit if you think about it. Actually, there was that one episode where Peridot is given an iPad for the first time and instantly falls in love with it. Wait, oh my god! Guys, you can say you watch Steven Universe.
Why was this documented?
If there's one thing I'm a little bit confused about so far, it's the army of Buzz Lightyear toys that'll likely be all over the marketing for this movie. There's still a lot about Toy Story 5's plot that I can't make heads or tails out of. Like, how does the conflict with the lily pad lead to all of these shenanigans happening? Like Woody and Buzz hanging on the back of a car, Jessie leading an army of Buzz Lightyears on a charge for a parking lot, what the lily pad is even gonna do that directly threatens the toys. There's a lot going on here for such a deceptively simple premise, and there's still some more things I would like to see. If there isn't some kind of scene where the lily pad attempts to record the toys moving about, and I think that's a massive missed opportunity. One thing I hope they do sort out is Buzz's characterization. The way Buzz was written in 4 is probably one of the most universally criticized things about it. Buzz has never been super sharp or anything, but he's not a dipshit. Toy Story 4 Buzz was so uncharacteristically stupid it was hard to believe he was the same character from the original trilogy. So far I'm a lot more optimistic about how he's being portrayed in 5. Him blatantly taking the piss out of Woody as he arrives by treating him as an intruder is a far cry from how witless he was previously. But then there's the car scene towards the end of the trailer where he has this petty back and forth with Woody, and I don't know, I might need more context for that one, but it doesn't look great. I was hoping Toy Story 5 would make some sort of comment on AI slop, given how big that issue currently is, but given it doesn't seem that much time has passed since Toy Story 4 in universe, I think that ship has sailed. Maybe they'll find a workaround, it's fiction at the end of the day. One thing I've seen get criticized a lot so far are the characters' voices. None of the casting has changed except for the ones that are sadly no longer with us, which is expected, but given this franchise is now 30 years old, a lot of the actors sound noticeably older and more tired. They're still giving good performances, let's not make any mistakes here, but it's very noticeable even compared to Toy Story 4 where it really started. Jessie specifically sounds a lot older than before. Personally though, I think this adds to Toy Story 5 rather than detracts. They make a big point about how old the toys are as they go against the new kid on the block. Woody is literally balding, so I think the characters sounding older makes a lot of sense, even if their physical appearances aren't changing a whole lot. The last thing I want to say before I go is that I really don't want them to act like Toy Story 5 is going to be a conclusion. It's not. Let's not kid ourselves here. The past 2 movies have been marketed and written as emotional send-offs, and I don't think they can get away with this kind of emotional manipulation again. 5 doesn't have to act like it's the end of everything, but it can still have a satisfying ending that wraps things up while still leaving the door open for more. No more playing around, just be honest with the audience. You're not letting this cash cow go in a million years. If it happens again, it'll probably sour the entire film for me, just don't bother. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think there's a strong possibility Toy Story 5 can work, but even then I still have my doubts and I'll be going into the film with tempered expectations. I hope they pull it off, but there is still a lot riding against this movie, unfortunately. At the very least, it seems to have everyone's attention now, so there's no way it's not crossing $1 billion, that's for damn sure. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Play no, actually, don't queue on me, freeze sucks. Play Deadlock. Fuck you, Sinclair.